All right, welcome back to Texas Live and Local. Time to track the tropics. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Let's talk about some pretty significant events going on this morning out in the tropics, not in our neck of the woods, but over into the eastern Pacific. We've already had 5 named systems so far for the Eastern Pacific season, and it's only been going since the middle of May. So this morning, right around 6:30 a.m. our time, Hurricane Erick did make landfall east of Acapulco, Mexico, and it made landfall as a major Category 3 hurricane with 125-mile-per-hour winds. It actually briefly strengthened to a Category 4 and then weakened just a tiny bit before making that landfall, but still it was a major hurricane, so that means the potential for a lot of damage. Here's the good news. Now it's moving over land, very mountainous terrain as well, so it is quickly weakening as it moves farther inland over land. So actually, Erick, no longer a hurricane. A whopper of a hurricane this morning with 125-mile-per-hour winds. Those winds now down to 50 miles per hour with gusts to 65, and it is moving to the northwest around 12 miles per hour. So it did make landfall across southwestern parts of Mexico. You could still see it looking still kind of impressive at the beginning of that tropical satellite loop, but it then kind of falls apart. Now it looks kind of ragged as it quickly weakens. So here's Acapulco and there's Veracruz, and it continues to push off to the northwest overland and weakening, but it is still dumping a lot of heavy rain, still producing some really gusty, windy conditions. So there's still some issues with this. Mudslides, the threat for flooding, all in these spots. But at least it is no longer a hurricane. It is now a tropical storm, and just look how quickly it continues to fall apart. By 1 a.m. Friday, winds down to 30 miles per hour, so that is some good news. So it's still going to be a rainmaker. It's still going to produce some gusty wind. It's still going to cause large swells, life-threatening rip currents, but the worst of it, I believe, at this point is over. But it did make that landfall this morning. You can still see all of the tropical moisture that will be impacting southern parts of Mexico into Central America and even into central and northern parts of Mexico. Some of this tropical moisture will kind of get pushed to the north, but most of that should stay out of Texas, and it certainly should stay away from us here in H-Town. So that is some good news. So overall, as we go through early next week, Monday, Tuesday, looking out into the Caribbean, the Gulf, western central parts of the Atlantic, there will be a few disorganized showers and storms out there, but nothing that we actually see kind of getting organized that would cause us to be concerned that, yes, we have a tropical depression or tropical storm developing in the Atlantic basin. So far this season for the Atlantic, it's been super quiet. National Hurricane Center thinking that will be the trend over the next 7 days. So if you've got a cruise in the Gulf, over towards parts of the Caribbean, it is looking nice. Western Atlantic, no major issues, at least from tropical systems expected over the next week. So that is good news, but don't get too excited about it because this is still just the beginning of hurricane season. And NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, still giving us a 60% chance for an above normal season, which, by the way, goes all the way through the end of November. We actually don't really get to the busiest part of the hurricane season until mid to late August, September. That is usually when we have the most action. So 30% chance for a near normal season, 10% shot for a below normal season. So even though it's been a slow start, NOAA's still expecting 13 to 19 named storms, out of those 6 to 10 becoming hurricanes, and out of those 3 to 5 becoming major hurricanes. So we don't want any of that messiness, especially if you're about to hop on a cruise ship, maybe with Carnival, Royal Caribbean, one of the other cruise lines. Maybe you're going on a Disney cruise. It is going to be nice for the most part. There will be a few showers and storms popping up. Isolated rain, we'll call it, if you're heading to the Bahamas. You have a cruise stop here. Maybe you're just going there for a vacation for the weekend. Temps in the upper 80s, wind out of the east-southeast around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Maybe you're going to Jamaica, Ocho Rios, looking good, but it is going to be very windy on Friday. Those winds blowing in around 20, 30, maybe 35 miles per hour. So that's likely going to be your biggest issue. Saturday, Sunday, still breezy, not quite as windy, and those temperatures soaring to near 90 degrees. Not much rain around, only isolated showers. So Jamaica, this time of the year, that's pretty good. At least you're not worried about any major tropical action. over into San Juan, Puerto Rico, another beautiful place to see and another great cruise stop. We've got some pretty nice weather. We're not talking about upper 80s or 90s. How about low 80s for Friday, 84 for Saturday, high of 83 for Sunday. Isolated rain here as well, and a nice breeze out of the east to east-northeast around 10, 15, 20 miles per hour, but no major issues expected. So good news there. All right, let's see what's happening over in Mexico. Of course, I talked about what was going on in southwestern and southern Mexico with the remnants of Erick for the rest of the weekend. There will be some rain chances that will be on the higher side, but I think for Cozumel, your rain chances will increase to about 50 to 60% on Sunday, but overall, you're going to miss out on most of the remnants of Erick as we go into Saturday and Sunday. So hot temps in the low 90s and some spotty showers and storms. Cancun looking pretty good. There will be the typical pop-up downpours for Friday, Saturday, and for Sunday. Temps near 90, but like I said, at least it's not a hurricane. It's not a tropical storm. So cruises across the Gulf, maybe if you're leaving out of Galveston, going to Cancun, Cozumel, maybe you're leaving from South Florida and heading over towards the Bahamas or the Eastern Caribbean, looking pretty quiet and nice weather for all of those stops. Like I said earlier, though, hurricane season really just getting going. As far as our tropical history from 1851 to 2021, like I said, we haven't even gotten to what is typically the busiest part of the season, mid to late August, September, the peak being September 10th. So make sure to continue to be prepared. Take this time while things are slow to go over your hurricane plan. Make sure you have one. Make sure you've got your gear ready to go. We'll be right back as we continue with more of Texas Live and Local.